It'll have a little jingle. Hello, hello. It is Tuesday, our little lunch show. I am Lindsay Weber with Keystone Mortgage Solutions, and of course, Miss Kayla McDonald with Remax Alliance Group.
Hello.
And our guest today is Mr. Gil McWilliams from McWilliams and Son. So thank you for having us or coming with us. We were talking the other day, and he was telling me about just his business and things that he was working on, and we got kind of sidetracked, and he has a demonstration for us to show us a little bit later. But I just want to take a minute for you to introduce yourself and tell us how you got into HVAC and
Electrical.
how long you've been here in Florida, things like that.
I'm Gil McWilliams, Son, AC, electrical, and a generator. I was born up in Baltimore, Maryland, where my dad had a business with about 100 guys doing the oil trucks, the fuel stuff, sheet metal shop, and everything like that. And so I kind of grew up into it. So I've been doing it since I was a baby, it feels like. And then we came down here, we sold out, came down to Florida in 1981. So Florida's my home. I love Florida. It is hot right now, which is good for us in business. And then we did a lot of commercial refrigeration, so all the bars, restaurants, stuff like that. Now we're typically doing more residential AC and a lot of electrical and generators. But most of the time, when I go out on the AC jobs and all that, the biggest thing I see is they always have that one room that's kind of warm, or they have, it's not cooling enough during the heat of the day. A lot of that has to do with airflow and design and filtration. So part of what I was telling you about is when I go there, I'm like, what rooms are hot in the house? Which one's not working? And also sizing the equipment properly. And there's things you can do to make the equipment work more efficient without even changing it. And airflow and ductwork is probably the number one thing. But no one wants to do it because why? Florida's so hot. Who wants to go in the attic right now?
Right.
So recommend doing it in the wintertime for sure. But we have customers right now, almost 1 or 2 a week, we're doing ductwork, and it kills the guys. So
yeah. So you've been here since 1981.
Yep.
But your dad was in business in Baltimore. So
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yeah. I'm originally from Baltimore. I don't know if we've ever talked about that or not.
Yep.
Yep. And you said sheet metal. My dad used to work in a sheet metal factory in Baltimore.
Yeah, it's an old craft. They call us tin knockers, and slips and drives and bending metal. Yep. I was doing that was like 8 or 10 years old.
Oh wow, that's so cool. So what part of, you're in Port Richey or Newport Richey?
Port Richey is our office right there, Ridge 19.
Okay. And what areas do you service?
We try to stay like from 50 over to like 41 down to like maybe Tampa Road, Curlew, and like kind of like it's a 4-county area, but like within a 25-mile radius, but more like the West Pasco side.
Right.
Because if you guys notice, the traffic is even getting worse every year. So,
yeah.
And you don't have enough manpower. What's that?
Definitely did not notice that.
No. Oh, so windshield to kill you in a business, and you don't have enough guys or a way to get there quick enough for people. So we kind of shrink our area down and try to give the best service we can in a more local area. That way, I feel like our efforts are being valid.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I use you guys a lot. For electrical, like you guys, I think in the last 2 or 3 months, replaced 2 panels for, in listings or, or for the buyer side or whatever, just properties that we were under contract with. So I have like both of your electrical people like saved in my phone. So I just like, they're probably like, oh, Kayla's calling again for an electrical issue. But you guys are always so good. And I feel like your pricing is so fair and like, they're great. Like it's Brandon and Devin that I call all the time. And they're just so nice and so informative. And like, even if I just have a question, they're really, really great. And then like the actual servicing is really easy and quick. Like you guys are able to get us on schedule fast and get the jobs done very, very quickly. And I know that and then for the AC side, I know you've come out and done, a couple quotes for me. And, I remember when you explained to me at one property about the air ducting and the flow and all that stuff. There's just so much that goes into it that I feel like not every company will take the time out to explain that to somebody and explain it to the homeowner that might not be the system itself. It's the ductwork and all the flow and breathing of the house and all the other stuff that you know about.
Yeah. The last job I did before I came here, the guy had sidewall grills in the ceiling, so the ceiling grills, so the air was blowing straight down, not across to the fans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, change the filter, change your grills. You put the wrong grills in, and just as a courtesy,
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not always about the money, but it's about the relationships you get out there too. And then, doing the right thing by right people is what we try to do. And as an owner, even though the size business I have, when you see someone out, like a lot of times at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night, my name is probably being mentioned. I work around the clock if I'm here.
Oh, yeah. I saw a post from, mutual friend. I think it was a month or two ago that.
Yeah, attorney that. It was huge.
Yeah. And you came out at like midnight, their AC went out, and I think they live in your neighborhood, which, I don't think that would have made a difference if they were 3 neighborhoods down or, 10 miles down the road. I think you would have gone out anyway to help them.
Yep. He had another company doing maintenance on there, and they left the 1-inch filter, but they had a 2-inch filter rack. I'm like, this needs to be 2-inch. So I tell people, if you haven't had me at least do like a evaluation of your system, just to give you some pointers, just feel free to call me on that, because like you said, there's things I can do. It's not about spending a lot of money. It's about tweaking certain things to make it, work more efficient. Like even some of the new houses, they have like dryer vents outside of the unit. All that dryer lint's going on the unit. No one cleans the outside unit sometimes. It's, crazy.
Yeah, I've seen that before. And I actually had a client of mine. He bought a new build. I think it was maybe 2 years or less. So the house is less than 2 years old, and he's been having an issue with his AC unit. And I guess it's supposed to be under warranty still. And everybody that's gone out to look at him says that he should have a larger unit in the house, because the 1 bedroom stays cold, but the rest of the house, they're just like sweating all, it won't hold the temperature. So I don't know if that's an issue. Like, do you see that a lot, especially in new builds? Is there a certain code that they should have a certain tonnage for a certain square footage, or does that get looked, I guess, not looked over or passed over during that inspection period when the county is inspecting and all of that? Do you see that?
Well, Stark is a great example of that, because it's the new energy, efficient houses with more R value and stuff like that. So they try to put a smaller unit in to handle the square footage, because they have better insulation, better windows.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened years ago, we used to do 500 square feet per ton. So 1,000 square foot house would be like a 2-ton minimum. But if you had bad windows, old crank out windows and all that, a 2.5 would probably help out. And you really wouldn't be oversizing it too much, because what happens is a lot of the more efficient units, how they're more efficient? They're more efficient because they save money on when they're running an electric. The only thing is you have a 2-ton unit and a 2-ton air handler, 2-ton condenser, but outside is a 1 3/4 compressor. So the compressor is smaller, which causes it pulls less amps.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how they get energy efficient. So really, you don't have a true 2-ton, 24,000 BTU unit, and that's where the drop goes. And then another thing too, a lot of people get these new houses, like where Sprouts is over here on 54, that new subdivision.
Yep.
So the AC company puts the units in for the builder.
Yeah.
But they don't know when they sell the house. They don't know who the owner is. So the builder says, here's your paperwork and go register all your equipment. And that's from your AC to your hot water heater to your electric panel, everything that you can do warranty on, like your refrigerator, oven, stove. If you don't do the registration, you don't have no warranty. Or you have the standard warranty of like 5 years on the system. Now, the DeSantis did pass a law last June saying, hey, if you have a system in the house, you'll have 10 years with that location. But it's also done with registration. So if you don't do it when so you still have to register, even though it's changing ownership, because you guys in the realtor field, that. that, it's after 5 years, second owner, like Starkey sold 2 and 3 people in 5 years. So now most of the people over here don't even have a 5-year warranty on it.
Right.
Because now if they install this year and it was registered, it will, but you got to still register the equipment. So the warranties are a big thing and when you do warranty on the parts are covered, but they still charge a $50 to $100 processing fee on big parts versus small parts. And anything like the dryers or the copper or power or Freon, you always hear those $1,000, $1,500 bills, $2,000 bills because the labor and Freon's not covered. The part is, but there's also a processing fee for them to store it and have warranty on it. So we try to educate our customers. We always tell them, it's just calling for the big money, not the small stuff. So if you can change your filter and you can keep your unit working efficient, then you won't need me, Yeah. And then if you do need me, you don't have the tools or parts to fix it anyhow.
There's always I'll call it a discrepancy. Certain people recommend certain filters, and what do you find that the best filter to purchase would be? Thinner ones, thicker ones, certain brands?
I like filters are pretty much about the same, the manufacturer. I like having at least a 4 or 5 inch filter, or if you have returns in the house, like most people have a low return. I don't like low returns. I like high returns. And I use high velocity grills, not low velocity grills. So our grills cost a little bit more money, but they're high velocity, so they don't rattle.
Right.
And they look better. But when you do it, I like also having one in each of the main bedrooms too. But a lot of times you have a system and they run one 14-inch duct here, and then you can put an 18 by 24 grill there in the ceiling. Then they do, a couple more off that. You still only have 14-inch going back. I like having a 14-inch going here, a 12-inch going here with a 2 12 by 12. So now I'm sucking from 2 directions. I can use a better filter because I have multiple access with the, with airflow coming back to the unit for better filtration.
Yeah.
And you know how the filters are 1 inch thick, the standard ones, the cheap ones? So they're 1 inch thick. But then you see the ones that are accordion, they go up and down.
Yeah.
So that's a higher MERV. Then if you get like the real high ones that cost like $20, like up and down like this. So what happens is that's surface area. So I will show you guys a filter. So I have one. This is a 5-inch filter. See how thick it is?
Never have I. Yep.
Never have I ever put one of those in my house.
So they normally do as a home household filter underneath the unit. So you can free flow your returns from your bedroom. But to give you, this is like a 20 by 20 filter. Yeah. And what it is, so when you take it apart, and I'll show you, the 20 by 20 filter, normally a standard filter is 20 by 20, but with the surface area, it's more than 20. So when you do this, it's almost 10 foot long.
Okay.
So that's 10 foot of surface area on the system. So when you look like this, it's temporary. So you can get 3 or 4 months out of the filter. Maybe not June, July, and August. That's the hottest month. I would try to break them up because June, everyone's unit is running 3 times longer as a heat dome. So that's a lot of surface area. So it doesn't. It's like when people are wearing masks, right? And the mask is kind of like hard to breathe. Well, AC systems just like us. So if you can have a bigger area, you can actually breathe better. And if you can breathe, then you can cool the heat load when you have between 1 and 7 o'clock during the day. The heat load's great. So you have to have good windows, good insulation, good ventilation in the attic, and a system that can do the square footage with proper airflow. And if you're lacking any of those, they all are factors to make the unit say, oh, my unit's only getting 78 to 80 degrees right now. But when it's filled like triple digits and 95 to 100, 80 degrees, I don't want to say it's bad, but, it's not really broken. It's probably just a little bit of airflow.
Yeah. Yeah, I see like right now, and I think it's like this every year, especially like once summer hits, it's like every other post I see in any one of these chat groups is like, my AC's out, my AC's broken. This is happening. And it's like, oh, it sucks. I'm sure.
I got a guy I'm going to next because my unit's 72 degrees. I think it should be colder, 70. I'm like, I don't have a magic wand to fix this. I don't care who you call. It's not going to fix it. And he's the one with the 2-ton with the 1 3/4 compressor on a 1,700 square foot house in Starkey. So the square footage is high, the compressor is small. And when you go, you've been in Starkey on Rangeland, right, Kayla?
Yeah.
Okay, or when you both in it. Yeah. So when you go up to the second floor, the air handler sits on the second floor, right?
Right.
And we know hot air rises.
Yeah.
Well, the filter is down low. So I take a piece of toilet paper. I go, oh, look, see how it's sucking the paper in? He goes, yeah. I go, your thermostat's here. at 5 foot high. And then your ceiling, you have these things called, remember the pastures that go above the doorways, a hole above the doorway?
Yep.
Like the grill. It's like a grill with a grill.
Yeah.
But
So
people don't use them. Yeah, they don't like using them anymore because they let noise and stuff like that. It doesn't look as clean on the doorway. So now they do the thing called a Passover. So a Passover, and what is code, is a return in the hallway linked to the return to each bedroom, right? And all it is a hole into the attic, which the attic's what? Hot.
Yeah.
So that thing gains heat that comes into part of that area, which I love. And then I'm like, he goes, how do you fix it? I go, I got to redo your whole install on a house that's 4 or 5 years old, run a return up high, and then tap in out and let those things suck the air back to the unit with the 5-inch filter. So there's no restriction. So I can move as much air as possible when the heat gain is so high during the day between 1 and 7.
Sounds like a lot of work for
that could have been done right the first time.
Right. Well, the builders do the stuff, I get it. They're trying to maximize square footage and all that, but they put this stuff like especially on the second floor with one flow switch. How many people you had drain issues recently?
Oh gosh. I feel like
maybe 8 out of 10 drain issues, right?
Yeah.
So when you can't breathe and you ever see your filter bend like this, like this, that's a negative pressure. So when you have a negative pressure, your filter's underneath the unit, then you have a coil, an A coil, and then you have the blower. Well, if you can't get air through your filter, if it's dirty, and you can't air through the coil because it's freezing up because the filter's dirty, then you have the drain pan. And the drain pan is like a donut pan, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the donut pan, you have your drain that runs outside. So what happens is the reason why there's a trap outside is to prevent air from sucking in, like a trap underneath the sink is for methane gas. So when you can't get air through the filter or the coil because it's freezing up, your big blower in your unit is going to try to suck through the drain line like a straw, hold water, shut the system down, or cause it to flood. So when I tell you airflow is like the number one thing, and next year with this new gas, it's more it's a flammable type gas, but they have the flame rate, so everything's going to have a lot more. It's going to be airflow in everybody's house, so they're going to have to definitely do something with ductwork on almost every job.
Well, and I think that people eliminate the ductwork half the time because of the cost of it, when truly they should have to do that if they're updating their system and the ductwork is so old. Because I mean, how long does the ductwork stay good for in a hot attic? Like a roundabout number.
I think ductwork should last a good 20 years to 30 years if it's properly being maintained.
Okay.
Years ago, you've been on houses during home inspection where they had that gray flex up there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the gray didn't have the silver lining. So it was a recall on it, but they only recalled a portion of it. So it was still a winner. The silver flex has a wire mesh in it. So it also has UV protection. So those last a pretty long time. But the gray stuff, because of plastic, it would fall, it would dry so hot that it would crystallize and break apart. Then the insulation would fall off, and then the tubes or cold tubes you could see like drip stains, and you think you have a roof leak every other truss.
Mm. Yeah,
and that's mostly Spring Hill had a lot of that, and some of the stuff like Sunnybrook had some down there, a couple places.
I mean, some of the places I've seen with their ductwork after inspections, like it looks like the ducts are just like crushed and just crumbling.
Yeah, that's the gray stuff is.
Yeah. Or if they had rats or something in the attic at some point that chewed through them, and there's holes everywhere, and it's just
and terrible. You know how we're seeing a lot of rat stuff lately too because it's so dry. Where's the moisture at, guys? In the ductwork, in the attics.
Yeah,
they're going in. So always try to keep your. I would say where the copper pipes go up through the side of the house, line chase. Try to make sure that's got foam in or something like that to make sure, and maybe steel wool so no rats go in there. And if we do ductwork with rats, we always tell people to, get rid of the rats first because there's no guarantee. If I put new ductwork in and the rats come back, they just tear it up, and you can't really patch ductwork.
Yeah.
And you know how people do duct cleaning stuff?
Yeah.
So I always ask them, when's the last time you had your lungs cleaned? They go, what? I go, no one's really had their lungs cleaned, So you take a wire brush or the brush with a camera and you spin in that plastic, and if it's old ductwork, what do you think is going to happen to the old plastic in there?
It
could rip.
Yeah.
And the camera will say, hey, you see your ductwork, this one's bad. now we recommend a new duct. And also on the rectangle stuff you have, when you have around brush and it's ductboard, the ductboard has a coating on it because it's fiberglass. So they coat it inside. But when you brush it, you're beating the coating off in the dirt. You know what you have now? Fiberglass slivers.
That you're breathing in.
Yeah, the duct machine for duct cleaning is the thing where a lot of people, it's basically made to sell ductwork. I've been here a long time. I don't do duct cleaning. I do duct replacement.
I mean, I've had people want to get their ducts clean from a house that had cigarette smoke in it. And
oh, that's hard.
I feel like you just need to replace it. Like at that point, cigarette smoke is so hard to get out of the house. I'm like, you might as well just replace it. Like, I feel like I want to replace my drywall.
Well, it's just like restoration. As a restoration guy, you get a house that has smoke in it. You almost got to try to seal it or just tear everything out. It's either tear everything out and start new.
Yeah, I know. It's very, very hard to get out of the house. I've seen those ozone machines, but I had a listing one time a couple years ago, and it was just the cigarette smoke was just so terrible. And we ended up having, my seller had to give them a credit because they wanted to clean the ducts, but I never followed up to see if it worked. But in my mind, especially with what you are saying, how they do it, how is a brush going to get that smell out?
Well, it's a round brush in a rectangle spot. So even though you're beating up the sides, you're not really getting in the corners all the way either. So
yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me. But I think it kind of goes down to, if you keep your house clean and change your filters and everything like that, the inside of your ducts aren't truly going to get. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be things that slip past and through them, but I don't think it. In my mind, I don't picture like the inside of ducts looking like, I don't know, your dry.
Well, you ever hear the word like black lung? They say black lung from smoking.
Yeah.
It's black ductwork. I used to do some of the bowling alleys years ago.
Oh gosh.
You ever smoke in there?
We used to go every 2 weeks to do deep maintenance. Once a month deep maintenance, but something like every 2 weeks to do maintenance. And the filters and the smoke and the stuff coming out of the water drain lines of black, it was terrible.
I can smell.
That was all leader lanes.
Smell the bowling alley.
I can smell the bowling alley right now.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Well, it's got that smell.
It does. You smell it right as soon as you walk in.
Yeah.
So what are your top tips for helping maintain and keeping your HVAC system efficient that you can let everybody know how to take care of it?
I would say on the thermostat, I said when it's hot weather, I would say, 76, 78 if it's, is pretty good temperature during the day. And then maybe at nighttime, you can turn it down a little bit more to get colder. As long as the system can handle the job. Every time you drop a degree, sometimes you'll notice the electric bill probably go up every degree in our $25 to $35, I would think. Might be more, depends on the electric company. So I got some people right now that have 700 electric bills in like a 1,200 square foot house. I mean, that's more than a mortgage payment. So I would say, be conscious of the thermostat and not try to expect it to do all that. Date your filters. So when you think you just changed it, make sure you say, oh, I just changed it and it says 2023,
Time goes by so fast. I'm not dating. I never even thought about it. So
I am guilty of that too in my own house. So just let you know, I'm not perfect.
And you look and you're like, oh my God, it's been that long.
Yes. I've seen some pretty old ones before in buildings, like almost 8 years old. I'm like, this is why.
8 years old?
Yeah. An old bank building, no one could find that one filter and it was always having issues. No one actually, follow Yellow Brick Road and follow out where the ductwork. And when I found it, it had a date on it too. I was like, wow.
Oh my gosh. Did you take a picture of it or hang it up in the office?
No. It was trash. It was not.
I'm guilty. This usually takes care of the changing the filters, and it didn't occur to either one of us that there was another filter in the house that we had never changed. And of course we had an air conditioning problem. They're like, when's the last time you changed this filter? I'm like, well, I didn't know that so never. But now
it existed.
Another thing too is so keep your filter changed. Like every time you get an electric bill, that should be a reminder. My electric bill's high. Maybe my filter needs to be changed.
Yeah.
I guarantee you get an electric bill every 30 days.
Yeah, it doesn't stop coming.
It doesn't stop
It
coming.
won't stop.
It's weird.
It will go up if you don't change your filter. So, make sure the drain is draining and there's not like in the ground or dirt outside where it's getting clogged by like grass and stuff, or
Right.
where grass or lizards can get in there. I would do that. Also look and see if you have a dryer vent that's blowing out on your unit. That's a big killer, because trying to move heat in the heat and you have hot lint blanket on, like your lint saver, that lint will be on the unit, and it will blow your compressor and the coil. And this new equipment out here, some of those parts are not available for 3 to 6 weeks.
Right.
Even if it's under warranty, you're out. So that's something I would look for. Mainly be cautious of what you expect out of a unit. If you expect it to be 70 degrees, we got to be a little realistic that, hey, it feels like 100 and some out there. 76, 78 should be at least decent.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, my house, the missus likes it really cold, so sometimes she cranks it down at nighttime at 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and it'll do it.
Yeah, I'm not allowed to turn my thermostat below 74, which is fine.
When I bought the house here, I ripped the units out the day one when we bought it, and I put a higher SEER unit in where it can run a heavier unit if need be, but then run smaller so it can control humidity for it too. And put fans in every room too. You don't have fans, that ceiling fans,
then you're crazy. You're crazy if you don't have ceiling fans. We have fans in every single room, and we got like these high power ones because, especially when you're sleeping, for me, like we can't sleep if the fan's not on high. And I always turn my air down at night. Like we just go up between like 3 degrees from 74 to 77 during the day, and it seems to work so fine for us.
Well, if you walk outside and walk back in, it does feel cooler.
It really does. I'm like, ooh, it's cold in here at 77 degrees. But I've acclimated to the warmer temperatures of 77 and 74.
Yeah. Sometimes when people are getting new AC systems too, guys are moving fast because there's such a high demand right now. Like we're slammed. Like we can't even take care of all the customers right now. There's not enough employees or not enough time in the day with this weather. And we try to do a 24-hour turnaround on a lot of stuff, not on installs, but at least on service. But like sometimes I'll see drain lines that are 1/2 inch, not 3/4. I'll see the copper line size is smaller. And sometimes when I did a job for $1,000 more and I'm adding a return duct or adding a new plenum and I'm adding duct work, there's $1,000 of material, the new T-stat wire too. So I make sure the T-stat wire has enough wires for the new Wi-Fi thermostat in case someone wants it. So the old, especially the older houses like Embassy and Holiday, they only have like so many wires. Now you got to rely on batteries, and I don't like batteries in thermostats because they oxidize over time. And then these Wi-Fi thermostats could be $200 and $300 thermostats. Because batteries oxidize. That's an avoided. I like avoiding, breakdowns because of just common sense thinking.
Right. So you might pay a little bit more up front, but then the longevity and then the better functioning for
quality.
Yeah. Quality. I'd rather pay more to make sure my AC unit's not going to go out, because you know what's going to happen if it's in the middle.
I will remember that, Kayla.
Well, I don't know. I don't want my AC unit to go out at night, because if it goes out in the middle of the night and nobody can come there and fix it, then I'm going to a hotel. It's plain and simple. Not trying to sound high maintenance or anything, but I just can't sleep in heat.
A lot of times now with the phones, how we even we're doing this today, like I can always do a Zoom call with some people too, and I can look at their thing and go, hey, check this. And it depends on what it is. Normally I can help them fix it over the phone, or I have to go out.
Yeah.
So sometimes I do, Q&A with customers and get them back up and running. Then we once we get it running, then we'll schedule a good maintenance and come out and do a full cleaning or something like that.
Yeah.
And you said you did electrical as well, right?
Yeah.
So I'm always, I come across a lot, like when we're getting inspections from the insurance company, that they have certain type of wire that needs to be transitioned to something new. And are you the person I should be calling to get that
Yeah.
fixed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
A
didn't
lot of times you have houses that have aluminum wiring.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to do either,
They're the older houses I found.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, down like mile stretch area, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Moog Road.
Yeah.
You can put aluminum cons on there and stuff like that. You got to put them on everything and they'll pass. Rewiring the house, that's gutting the house or opening up all the walls. That's a hard one to do, you know?
Yeah. Most
Yeah.
of the time, that word that you just said, illumicons, I think that usually satisfies whatever they're looking for as far as insurance is concerned without having to go and rewire the whole house, because that's inexpensive in itself.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got the wiring, the labor to do all that. Plus you also have the painting and the holes. And it's hard to do.
Yeah. Well, Lindsay, the last panel they did for me was, I think, like 2 weeks ago. There was a little tiny electrical panel, and it was in the bathroom. And this was like a 65 house. And I don't know where the renovations went or how it was pieced together over the years, but the inspector's like, yeah, you can't have your electrical panel right next to your shower and above your toilet.
Yeah, I remember you telling us about that.
Yeah. So they, it was like a full, I think they got there at like 7 a.m. Thankfully, the house was vacant. The sellers were up in Canada out of town, and they were able to get there early to start early because they had to move it. Thankfully, it was on an exterior wall, so they placed it outside, and they were there, I think, until like 3 o'clock that day, because that was a big job, and they had to replace the panel and all the things. They're great.
Yeah, some of the new stuff's coming down the pipeline is you have the meter can outside, and they're making us have a master shut-off switch too.
Yeah,
for the fire department to shut the thing off. So now we got that, and then a lot of times we get into it, we might as well, if we're doing the full thing, we might as well go ahead and put the new meter box in there. Also the riser with the good wire and the good connections, you know?
Yeah, there was one that you guys did for a condo, and that was a thing too. Like, you guys had to come out and make sure that there was a shut off on the exterior for that. I think there already was one, so that there wasn't one that needed to be added, but for the panel, because it was like what was it? One of the ones that are like big no-nos for insurance, like Zinsco.
The Sylvania one.
Sylvania,
yeah. The Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
We have a condo down south where a buddy of mine is working on, and there's 4 rental houses. Outside, it has 4 of those same 100 amp Sylvania breakers, 1, 2, 3, 4. The breakers are $300 some each individual.
Wow.
But you have to have 4 people to contact, and they all have to agree to do that.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I have a rental house on Moon Lake, and the poles, it's kind of iffy, and we have all the stuff to do it. But I go, but the next door neighbor, they have their meter attached to the pole too. So both of us are sharing the same pole. So I said, hey, we can split the cost or whatever, I'll do the majority of the stuff, cover you, and it'd be a win for you. But I'm like, all right, well, when the thing does fall down, I'm gonna put my pole up, and you're gonna leave yours down. I go, it's a safety issue,
Yeah.
or will be in the future.
Yeah, right. At some point. Now you said you guys do generators and everything too, since we're pretty much officially
we're in hurricane season. Yeah, June 1st.
So you guys do the panel, and then you do sell the actual generator as well.
Yep. Yeah. So we sell the generator, Generac. We sell that. We also service them, and we also, we're also electricians. Some people sell the generator, get an electrician guy to install it, and then you had someone to do warranty. We kind of do everything in house.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I don't know that I realized that you guys did generators, but I mean that's good to know.
You know what the biggest question I get about generators?
What?
Do I need a generator?
Yeah.
No, you don't. See, I'm not even selling you. You never need a generator until you need one.
Yeah. Until you need one.
The generators are, everyone thinks it's for hurricane, but it's also for like power losses or someone hits a telephone pole or something like that. Typically, if you have an elderly person that has an oxygen machine that needs power, and it's a medical condition, they need a generator.
Yeah, because you know how many bozos there are out there that run into transformers or hit a pole, and then you got to wait for the power company to come out and fix it. And it could be done quickly, but it also could take a half a day or a full day to get you back into power. Like you never know.
And we can't do generators that quick turnaround because, by permitting, first thing we need is survey of the property to see if it's even able to go on. We just had one that the guy is trying to put a pool in, but it's in Starkey here, which is, it's a big neighborhood, so we're seeing a lot of things. He has drainage on both sides, so we can't put a generator there. He can't move his AC heaters there, and he can't put a pool in his pool equipment there. So I'm like, he bought the wrong house. And it's not because of the easement, it's because they consider both sides of the house drainage. So basically, they built the house on a pond, it seems like, because there's drainage on both sides, So we'll give him his money back and tell him, I don't think we tried to pull the permit, but we couldn't get the permit.
Yeah, because the generator has to go outside the house. It's not like you can just stick it in the garage.
Right.
Because the generator, it runs on gas, right? Or
on like the natural gas or propane.
Yeah.
So you get the survey done on certain houses, and then you also get the propane company. There's a propane company. Starkey has natural gas.
Yeah.
So you can just hook up to their line, but then you want to make sure that they can bury a tank or put a tank somewhere on certain houses. Not so much here because they have natural gas feed in, but yeah, that's the thing you got to look at before we even start our process. We want to get all those questions answered first.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that it was such not a lengthy process, but there were steps leading up to it like that. You might not be able to do it depending on the house.
Yeah, I never thought.
And you got to have, normally it's a foot off the wall, 2 foot generator. You want to have at least 5 foot. So 7.5, I normally say 8.5 feet is the best.
Okay. So if anybody needs to get a generator, like they should call now to get the process started, right?
Yeah, we normally keep enough. We keep a certain amount of generators in stock, but as soon as we get them, we pre-order them every month, a certain amount. As soon as we get them, they're going back out.
Yeah. Now is probably the best time, not when there's a named storm in the Gulf, right?
That's not. Do you know how many calls I get like the weekend of? I want a generator now, and people are like, I don't care what it costs. I'm like, we can't do it legally.
Right.
And I don't have my guys work inside of that kind of. I can't have them working with hurricane force winds with electrical. So
it's weird.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Mr. Christian LeBron chimed in. He said, Gil is the man.
Christian's a buddy. I work with a lot of different AC guys. I mean, we're all work collaboration. There's enough work out there for all of us.
Yes.
He's a good guy. I respect him. And we have meetings every now and then and stuff like that. So,
he was on not that long ago, a couple weeks.
There's some good guys out there. So.
There definitely is. So we have them on here. So you're one of them.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for inviting me. I was like, sure. Now I got to figure out how to get on here. So Lindsay knows I'm very challenging with computers and stuff like that. So.
You did good.
Yeah.
Yep. A couple clicks and you were in. So good job. All right. Well, that pretty much does our time for today. So if anybody needs to get a hold of you, what's the best way?
Appreciate it. Oh, just call me at 862-7002 number.
Okay.
Yep, and you have it going across the bottom.
Yep. Down the bottom there, the 727-862-7002 and WilliamsandSonInc.com.
Yep. I appreciate you guys having me today.
All right. Thank you very much. And enjoy your day. Stay dry.
You like my background?
Your pool is beautiful.
I'm on my way.
The ponds.
I'm like, can I do this in the middle of the day at 12 o'clock to avoid the heat? It started raining on me a little bit earlier. I don't know if you've seen it. I was like, yeah, I'm pulling off now. Nice.
Yep, you can do it. We do it at all different areas. Like you see, I'm at the gym right now. So.
And if anyone has any questions out there, they can always feel free to call, ask for me. I'll be happy to return a call, answer questions, and even do a free estimate check on a house to see how they can pointers so they can better their system. So.
Well, thank you for that. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, guys.
All right. Have a great day. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.